10 जुलाई की रात थी वो, और रात को 2 बजे उसका विक्रम का जब कॉफिन पहुंचा, there were almost close to 2,000 people at that point of time, who were there to receive his coffin. And when we opened the coffin, as I said, that he was smiling. And when we got the coffin to home, because it was kept in the army cantonment, तब उसको सुबह घर लेकर आए on 11th of July. And क्योंकि वो रिचुअल होता है कि आप पहले घर पे लेकर आइएगा, राइट? तो I think I could never forget the sight. It was very difficult. And I had to touch him, and the moment I touched him, he said, he's not there. So, and then of course, whatever happened that,
I'm so sorry, Vishal, because it still hurts so much, doesn't it?
And then of course, we kept the coffin in the ground, and let me tell you, almost, there would be nothing. There's a lack of people. Palanpur was shut down for 2 days, for the bravery he had displayed, and everybody was thronging to just have a last sight of Vikram, that can we see him, can we touch him. And then of course 11th was the day when we finally did the final rites for Vikram. We cremated him with all the military honors.
Vishal, the first time you went to Kargil was with me.
Yeah.
And that is why this podcast is especially very, very unique for me, very, very dear to me. Because Sher Shah Vikram Batra, an iconic legend of our time, your twin brother, if you look at you, we see Vikram, is now followed by all of India. He is a subject of cinema, of folklore. Everybody knows Vikram. But as his twin, it took you 10 years before you could go to Kargil. And we did that trip together. Let's start with your very first trip to Kargil.
So first of all, Barkha, I'd like to thank you, rather in 2009 when I got a call from you that, Vishal, you will do a documentary on the Kargil celebrating the 10 years of Vijay Diwas. I thought that was the best time. And if I have to go back and tell that why I couldn't travel for the first 10 years, I'll be very candid that unfortunately, Vikram was the first cremation of my life. And when we got Vikram's coffin, and of course, we were just 24. Prior to that, I had never seen a dead body, right? And I was totally shattered looking at my twin. While I remember when we opened the coffin, he was all smiles. Exactly the same smile what he had when he was fighting the battlefield. And then, what happened? It just, the feeling what I, gone through my heart was that I should not have done this 10 years. That I should have traveled at least one to see what he has done for the country. While he was Sher Shah for the rest of India. For me, he could always be my heretical love. And then I thought, let me go and see, the courage, the likes of Vikram, Manoj, everybody did, while fighting the Pakistanis at the mighty peaks. I thought, I should be going down and pay my tribute and at least let me visit the shrine when these young brigadiers of the Indian Army led India to victory. And that's when it all started. And thanks to you that I could really visit and see those mighty peaks, where I think the eagles there, to fly.
Yeah. And one of them is now named after your brother. Yes. It's called Batra Top. Yes. लेकिन आज हम लोग इतने old हो गए हैं, Vishal, that there are people today in our audience who were not even born at the time, or were just about born जब ये जंग होती है 1999 में. Which I always say it was a great honor of my life to have met your brother, great honor of my life to have covered the war from the front line. लेकिन मैं अपने audience को थोड़ा सा context देना चाहती हूँ. Pakistani intruders are sitting on India's mountain tops, and heroes like Vikram Batra are tasked with climbing up these jagged peaks and getting the Pakistanis out, getting our territory back, and hence every year we mark Vijay Diwas. Now, आपने विक्रम की smile की बात की. I'll tell you the one thing I remember from my interview with him, and that is the the interview that led to the movie, led to everybody getting to know that one line. मैंने उनसे बोला, मैंने कहा, सर आपको डर नहीं लगता राइट और मुझे अभी तक याद है सब बैठे थे एक टेंट था ही जस्ट कम बैक फ्रॉम एन ऑप और वो सारे एक कॉस्मोपॉलिटन का मैगजीन देख रहे थे मैं भी उनके साथ बैठी थी और मैं आई वाज वेरी इंटरेस्टेड इन अंडरस्टैंडिंग कि भाई करेज तो है लेकिन डर भी होता है करेज के साथ and he threw his head back and he laughed and he said ye dil mange more and ye dil mange more was a Pepsi Cola slogan at that time ab to Pepsi Cola to sab bhul gaye wo Vikram Batra का slogan है जब आप और मैं 10 साल बाद कारगिल गए तो मुझे आज तक याद है कि हम बत्रा टॉप के सामने बैठे और आपने अपने भाई को अपने ट्विन को एक चिट्ठी लिखी और आपने जैसे कबूतर को आसमान में छोड़ा जाता है ना केज में से निकाल के आपने अपने भाई को एक चिट्ठी लिख के यू सेट इट इनटू द ब्लू स्काईज और आप और मैं बहुत रोए यू रिमेंबर वी क्राइड सो मच वी सैट देयर और बहुत टेल अस अबाउट द लेटर यू रोट टू विक्रम सिटिंग लुकिंग एट बत्रा टॉप वो क्या चिट्ठी थी
So if you remember, वर्का उसमें क्या हुआ हम सबसे पहले सैंडो पॉइंट गए थे
जी
और सैंडो पॉइंट से when you look at the mighty peak of the Tiger Hill, so there is a flat ledge and then it goes to Batra top और मेरे को जो फर्स्ट फीलिंग आई थी वहाँ पे कि you know me and you I remember we traveled in a Innova और it took us almost close to 45 minutes to travel to that sando point तो मुझे उसको ये हैरानी हुई थी कि हमारे young soldiers थे the likes of Vikram and all other fellow soldiers and the officers how would have they really climbed that peak right we were sitting me and you were sitting at a 15,000 feet the peak Batra top now then 0.4 itself is almost 16,500 feet and I remember it we were shivering it was very cold I remember you managed to get me one sweater right and then we were wondering that how these people would have climbed in such a rough and a patchy terrain such a low level of oxygen so as you mentioned that what that courage each of these people would have reason is I personally believe that all the human beings सब जितने भी इंसान हैं हम 5 तत्वों के बने हुए हैं राइट दी जल वायु अग्नि पृथ्वी और आकाश so the thought that you know crippled my mind was that what is the sixth element which each of these individuals would have and I believe is that was courage so मुझे लग रहा था कि क्या courage होगी उनमें and despite the fact Vikram was my own brother and when I was looking at 4875 और वहां से आपको पूरा नेशनल हाईवे नीचे क्लियर दिखता है बिल्कुल तो रियलिटी में it would have taken a real grit and determination and the gut to be there and push the enemy behind because anyhow enemy was at a very very strategic location so the feelings which I was writing in the letter was actually the same कि विशाल यार तेरा अपना ट्विन है and I remember that जब हम स्कूल डेज में भी होते थे कॉलेज डेज में भी होते थे विक्रम was always a big go getter right हम दोनों बहुत ही एक्टिव स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन होते थे we used to participate in a lot of sports we represented India all India and nationals in table tennis and Ascoli right हम जूडो खेलते थे हम कराटे खेलते थे after Vikram became a commissioned officer the squash became his one of the favorite games तो मुझे लगता था यार कि वहां पे भी हमेशा गो गेटर होता था यहाँ पे भी I don't know what would have really gone into his mind that he said ये दिल मांगे बोल and when I look back now these 24 years back that how come ये दिल मांगे बोल उसके दिमाग में आया होगा क्योंकि ये मैं उसको रिलेट करता हूँ स्कूल लाइफ से तो वहां पे भी होता था कि जितनी भी ट्रॉफीज होती थी लगता था जितनी ट्रॉफी इकट्ठी कर सकता ना कर और कई बार बहुत बार ऐसा होता है we used to clash in semi-finals I lost to him in the district in semi-finals I lost to him in the zonal tournaments when we were getting selected for nationals I lost to him in the state level I lost to him in the school for 5 times when he became a school champion तो मेरे को लगता था कि कि ये हमेशा जीतता है और फिर हमको एक दिन लगा दोनों भाइयों ने आपस डिस्कस कि चल क्या फर्क पड़ता है कोई भी फर्स्ट है कोई भी सेकंड ट्रॉफी तो घर में आनी है बट देयर वाज नो स्टॉपेज टू इट So मैं उस लेटर में ये लिख रहा था and I was relating all things of school life to what he would have done in those 60 days and was the feeling. Second, मैं ये सोच रहा था कि क्या मेरे में इतनी करेज होती नहीं होती क्योंकि हम तो दोनों twin sibling थे identical younger team by 14 minutes but I remember one of his interviews of course which was taken by you जब वो नीचे आया था और उसको बेस में आपने पूछा था कि विशाल विक्रम what was the biggest victory signal तो उसने ये नहीं बोला था ये दिल मांगे बोल उसने बोला था my biggest victory that I went up with 6 men and I came back with 6 men. So that is what all I was writing is my feelings. And last the feeling what I was writing is that when we were driving down together, I think right from Leh to Dras, the journey was looking at those peaks because मेरा भी first travel था.
Yes.
Right. And what would have really got into the minds of these young soldiers who were just less than 2 years into the service? While I know that Vikram had done his commando course, right? He had done his insurgency in Sopor. But to me, climbing those mighty peaks needed something else which I wish I could explain. You get just courage, passion.
कोई word नहीं है.
कोई word नहीं है तो उसको अपने feel करना है ना. मेरा अभी भी बिलीव नहीं है कि उसको वहां जाके फील कर सकते हो आप. It's very easy for somebody to say come and talk.
Yeah.
But reality में जो आपका फीलिंग था मेरा फीलिंग था वहां जाके जो देखी होता है ना, it cannot be described in words.
वो चिट्ठी जब आपने आसमान में छोड़ दी और आप बहुत रोए, उस चिट्ठी की लास्ट लाइन क्या थी? Do you remember?
If I remember, I wrote it that you have become a Shershaah, but for me, you'd still be my love.
Yeah. It was such a powerful moment. आपने कैसे आर्मी नहीं ज्वाइन की? विक्रम पे वापस आएंगे, but आपने कैसे? You were love and kush.
Yeah, I was loving kush, yes.
आपने सोचा था कभी फौज में जाने?
Yes. In fact, we left it together. I've been telling that हम दोनों का first SSB इकट्ठे हुआ था. We went for our first SSB together. And I'll tell you the dates. The Vikram reported to 19th Allahabad on 12th of March 1996. And I reported on 14th of March 1996 with a gap of 1 day. And I remember we were the only twin couple in the entire batch of Allahabad. Because there are 4 centers in Allahabad. 11, 18, 19 and 34. And one batch fundamentally have around 40 cadets आते हैं जो अपना इंटरव्यू देने के लिए आते हैं, SSB देने के लिए. हम दोनों twin, then everybody was looking at both of us. कि एक ना जोड़ा आया हुआ है, that's the way the people get जोड़ा आया हुआ है, that people used to get confused also. And luckily we had a gap of 1 day in our SSB. So the dream of joining the forces was knitted together. We both prepared it for together. We both used to qualify and written together. First SSB we faced together. And in fact Vikram made it. I remember Vikram के batch में 34 candidates आए थे. Around 4 got selected. Vikram was one of the 4. In my batch in Allahabad we were 28. And the complete batch got washed out. And I cried like hell. जैसे कहते हैं ना, the hell bro, बच्चों की तरह. And Vikram got so scared कि मैं कुछ कर ना लूँ. And he actually had to go down to an STD because उस दिनों में मोबाइल नहीं होते थे. He had to call up mom and dad कि Kush is not feeling good after being washed out of the SSB. So please ensure that he reaches back. Yeah. And just give me a call, whatever possible, into the center that he's reached safely. Yeah. And by that time, of course, Vikram had made it. And I was waiting desperately जब मुझे पता लगा कि Vikram का selection हो गया. And then in the evening, Vikram came out and Vikram had a plus sign. Because क्या होता है कि पहले आपको एक chest number मिलता है और आप chest number से जाने जाते हैं because your name is not known to either the presiding officer or to the ground testing officer or a psychologist. And I saw the plus sign and I was very happy. And believe me, I must share this, Barkha. The feeling what we had कि at least हम दोनों भाइयों ने एक तो selection तो हुआ है ना कम से कम, right? So that was also the moment of pride. And I remember, why do I say this? Because we were 4 siblings, right? And we were an average middle class family. My mom was a teacher, my dad was a teacher. और dad हमको हमेशा कहते थे, dad was real strict in studies. Dad हमेशा कहते थे कि बेटा, what all I can give is only education, right? So तुम दोनों को ना, you have to define your career and don't come back to me tomorrow and tell me that dad, I want 10 lakh rupees, to set up a shop. I'll not even give you a single penny. So उस वक्त हमारा जो pride था ना, उस वक्त कि selection एक का होगा ना, so we were also taking a pride that my dad can at least tell that I have 2 sons, one is an army officer. Right? Second time I attempted, I went to Bangalore, didn't happen. Third time, when I went for my last SSB, Vikram was already in the academy. And since we were so passionate and fortunately फौज का पैशन था, तो हमको आइडिया भी था कि कैसे रिटायरमेंट होती है, कैसे आपके रैंक्स मूव करते हैं. एंड थैंक्स टू द एनवायरनमेंट वी वर बॉट इन बिकॉज़ वी स्टडीड इन द केंद्रीय विद्यालय व्हिच वाज इन द हार्ट ऑफ अ कैंटोनमेंट एरिया. तो बहुत सारे आर्मी ऑफिसर्स के बच्चे थे जो साथ पढ़ते थे, वो हमको गाइड करते रहते थे, राइट. फिर विक्रम ने मेरे को बोला, कहता यू लास्ट अटेम्प्ट ले ले, अगर हो जाता है तो ठीक है, अदरवाइज यू पिक अप अ करियर इन द कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर. एंड यू वोंट बिलीव इट, आई वेंट फॉर माय थर्ड एसएसबी at Sultania Infantry Lines, Bhopal, and I was in the 3rd semester of my MBA. Right, and unfortunately, I think destiny never wanted me to get into the forge, and I always end up believing, and I'll still say it's the army's loss. If one Batra could have done so much, I'm sure second would have done something.
But you are more or less a फौजी only. Yes. आप officially ना गए हो, पर आपका दिल वही है. मैं तो आपको मतलब आप 24 साल से जानती हूँ.
I call myself a फौजी non-Olympic.
Now, why was Vikram's battlefield name Sher Shah?
So while I'm sure, Barkha, you know it.
No, I know, but I want you to tell the story.
It was a name given by the commanding officer. Reason is we are not supposed to know your original name.
Of course, code name में आप बात कर रहे हैं.
And Shershaah, मुझे जहाँ तक मुझे याद है कि हो सकता है, could be a possibility that when Vikram was in the first posting in Sopor, और उन दिनों में Sopor used to be a hotbed of infiltration and terrorism. And one of the incidents is what Vikram shared with me, and I remember it very well क्योंकि वो I think December 98 की बात है, विक्रम छुट्टी पे आए हुए थे और घर पे बैठे हुए थे and Vikram was a very he had a very good physique and Vikram का पैट भी करता था ना, बैक में बोलता था मुझे लगती है तो ऐसे बन किया गया, राइट? तो लाभ ने मेरे को पूरी स्टोरी बताई कि वो किसी रात को एक ऑपरेशन में गया था and when he was leading the assault he was commanding one of the platoons. तो उसके बाद एक I think एक गोली आई, it was a thick forest and it sneaked through his ear and it hit the man behind him. और विक्रम को लगा it has taken the death of what the bullet which belonged to Vikram has been taken by somebody else, and he was very upset with that. And while he did mention to me that they had killed off both the terrorists by the warning, right? But I think it left a impact to them. और मुझे लगता है कि शायद after that when he did this mission successfully in his insurgency days, तो I think he had become one of the favorites in the battalion also, that he's a very young, energetic guy.
जोश वाला,
राइट, और डेयरिंग है. और मुझे अभी तक याद है कि उनके कुछ सोल्जर्स जिनको मैं मिला था, वो भी जो उनका जितना भी टेन्योर था विक्रम का 1.25 साल का सुपर में, वो कहते थे कि जब विक्रम साहब आगे चलते हैं ना तो हमको डर नहीं लगता, क्योंकि विक्रम ऑलवेज यूज्ड टू टेल हिज सोल्जर कि सबसे आगे मैं चलूंगा, इफ आई हैव टू बाइट द बुलेट आई विल बी द फर्स्ट वन टू बाइट द बुलेट, नॉट यू गाइस. तो हो सकता है, मुझे लगता है कि दैट्स द रीजन द कोड नेम शेरशाह वाज गिवन टू हिम, दैट ही कुड लीड फ्रॉम द फ्रंट, एंड दैट इज व्हाट ही डिड.
The movie Sher Shah, for a new generation, brought home the valor, the courage of your brother Vikram Batra. लेकिन उस मूवी से लोगों को एक ऐसी भी कहानी पता लगी जो बहुत कम लोगों को मालूम थी. हम जैसे लोग जो आपको बहुत साल से जानते हैं, हमें मालूम थी, लेकिन लार्जर ऑडियंस को नहीं मालूम थी, which is that Vikram was in love. When he went to the to fight this war, so he was already in love with Dimple Chima. और डिम्पल ने अपनी प्राइवेसी बहुत सालों से एक तरह से अपने आप को, कभी वो पब्लिक में ऐसे आई नहीं जब तक आई थिंक मूवी नहीं आई, एंड वी सॉ सिद्धार्थ एंड कियारा प्ले दिस कपल. बहुत कम लोगों को मालूम था कि ये भी एक डायमेंशन था. सो विक्रम वेंट इनटू बैटल. Of course he loved his parents, of course he loved you, his twin, his sister, but he also had fallen in love with Dimple Chima. Dimple ने आज तक, to the best of my knowledge, she never got into another relationship, she never married, she wanted to hold on to that love that she and Vikram shared. It's a great love story. Can you tell us a little bit about it? Whatever you can without compromising her privacy.
Yes. So let me tell you about Dimple and Vikram met during their university days. So जब विक्रम कहाँ पे पंजाब से चली गई. So Vikram of course did graduate और CDS का रिजल्ट अभी आना था. So by the time CDS result came, Vikram had taken admission in the Punjab University, and it was he did only first semester. And that's the place where Vikram had met Dimple in the university, because both were doing MA English before Vikram went to the academy. So a lot of people don't know that.
I didn't know MA English. Achha.
And by the time the result came, it was almost 7-8 months, clearing his SSB. And that's where they both met, and of course, I think they had a liking for each other, and they'd fallen in love. But the amount of the time what they spent was very less. But कहते हैं कि sometimes that.
No, I think Dimple told somebody that I knew Vikram for 4 years, but I only spent 40 days with him.
Yes, absolutely right. That's what I'm telling you. That they were in the college for 6-7 months, and after that Vikram went to the academy. So 1.5 साल आप उसकी training का लगा लीजिएगा. So that makes another 7 months plus 1.5 साल plus 1.5-2 years for posting. So totally it makes 4 years. तो वहाँ पे जब इन दोनों का हुआ, तो of course they started dating each other, and incidentally Vikram had to go to the academy very quickly, right? But Vikram का एक रिचुअल था कि विक्रम जब भी आते थे तो विक्रम used to plan his holidays very well. तो उसको होता था कि उसको कुश को भी मिलना है, उसको दीदी लोग को भी मिलना है, उसको मॉम डैड को भी मिलना है, उसको डिम्पल को भी मिलना है. So he used to plan. अगर उसको 15 दिन की छुट्टी मिली है तो what he used to do is that he used to come down to Chandigarh. He'll spend 2-3 days with his friends in Dimple, right? Whatever basti they have to go for an outing or they have to go for a movie, he used to be there. Then he used to come to Palampur. He used to spend a week with us. And then before joining his unit back, he used to go back to Chandigarh and spend 2 days and then go back. So this is the way all had happened. And I remember that, Vikram told mom and dad that he has a girl and he wants to get married to as a man, because he was too young. Of course, the intention was not to get married immediately. The intention was that he'll get married by the time he'll pick up a rank of a captain or a major. But he was committed, and so was Dimples. They had a commitment from each other. And it is just incidental that, I met Dimple for the last time on 2nd of July 1999. I remember that it so well. Or of course, by that time, सब देख रहे थे कि कारगिल वॉर छिड़ चुका है, Vikram is fighting the battle. We had a little of scare also. Of course, yes, ऐसा होता है कि ये war होता है, war costs, a lot of damage and loss to the lives of parents, brothers and sisters, right? तो डिम्पल के साथ मैं मिला एंड आई रिमेंबर हैविंग चॉपसी इन द लंच. और विक्रम का एक मेरे को मैंडेट था, वो होता था कुछ तो जब भी चंडीगढ़ जाएगा प्लीज मेक इट अ पॉइंट तो डिम्पल से मिल लिया करें, राइट. और विक्रम ने मेरे को जितने खत लिखे, आई एम श्योर विक्रम वाज राइटिंग लेटर्स टू डिम्पल डायरेक्टली आल्सो, बट लव ने जितने लेटर मुझे भी लिखे, उसने मुझे 4 लेटर लिखे थे बैटलफील्ड से, और चारों लेटर्स में उसने लिखा हुआ है कि से माय हेलो टू डिम्पल, से माय हेलो टू डिम्पल. और मुझे भी, मैंने भी प्रॉमिस किया था उसको कि डोंट वरी, जब भी मैं चंडीगढ़ जाऊंगा, बिकॉज आई वाज वर्किंग इन दिल्ली, आई वाज वर्किंग फॉर टाटा ग्रुप, आई वाज पोस्टेड हियर, तो जब भी मैं चंडीगढ़ जाता था मिलता था. एंड माय मीटिंग विद इट जस्ट हैपेंड दैट 2 जुलाई वी हैड अ चॉपसी लंच टुगेदर, और डिम्पल ने मुझे ड्रॉप किया था रेलवे स्टेशन में. जैसे शताब्दी में स्टिल रन्स 5 बजे चंडीगढ़ से चलती है टू दिल्ली. और जब मैं ट्रेन पे चढ़ा तो डिम्पल ने मुझे बोला कुशु, शी यूज्ड टू कॉल मी कुशु प्यार से, दैट्स व्हाट विक्रम यूज्ड टू कॉल मी, तो मैं उसको लव बोलता था, वो मुझे कुशु बोलता था. तो उसने डिम्पल ने मुझे बोला कि कुशु यू नो दिस ना, अभी तो विक्रम वापस आने वाला है, तो यू हैव टू गेट अस मैरिड, और ये तेरी रिस्पांसिबिलिटी है. तो मैंने कहा चिंता मत कर यार, वो तो ऐसे ही छाया हुआ है आजकल, ही इज इन द मीडिया ऑल अराउंड फॉर हिज ब्रेवरी, तो लेट हिम कम बैक, और तुम्हारा रोका वोका तो कर ही देंगे, बैंड बाजा बजा लेंगे. And unfortunately, after 4 days, we get to know that Vikram has not died. And I didn't even have the courage to call her back. कि मैं उसको कैसे बताऊं कि मैं 4 दिन पहले, 5 दिन पहले उनके रोके की बातें कर रहा था. We were talking about how do they get to married, immediately शादी करेंगे, बाद में करेंगे, अच्छा रिंग सेरेमनी करेंगे, 1 साल वेट करेंगे. And then I think she got the news through the media only that Vikram has been died. And it was a very tough time, right?
And you didn't meet her again?
I met her, to be honest, with you. So what happened जब हम पालमपुर पहुंचे, विक्रम, we lost on 7th of July. We got the intimation on 8th of July. और जब मेरे पास भी खबर आया, it was a very sad moment. I was in Delhi office, और मेरे को जब फोन बजा, and unfortunately मैंने वो फोन को पिक किया, और किसी ने मुझे ऐसे बोला कि can we talk to Vishal Batra? I said that's Vishal Batra. I'm talking. I'm on the line. सर भाई साहब पालमपुर से बोल रहे हैं. जैसे उस आवाज ने मुझे बोला कि पालमपुर से बोल रहे हैं, कुछ सेंस there's something grossly wrong, somebody calling me on my landline, and वो भी ऑफिस का, जब मोबाइल फोन्स नहीं हुआ करते थे. तो मैंने कहा हाँ जी बोलिए. सर आपके भाई साहब को गोली लगी है, एग्जैक्ट वर्ड पैटर्न. तो मुझे फिर भी लगा, कॉन्फिडेंस था कि विक्रम इज नॉट वन ऑफ द गाइज हु गो विद अ वन बुलेट. सो मैंने कहा ठीक है ना वो. तब उसने बोला कि आई एम सॉरी विशाल, इज नो मोर एंड यू गॉट टू बी इन पालमपुर. Then of course we moved in our journey to Palapur. We started, all the arrangements that how do we travel, because it used to take 14 hours during those days to reach down from Delhi to Palapur. And incidentally, my sister Nutan, you know her very well.
Yeah.
She was 8th month pregnant, right? And my second sister Seema Di, jo badi thi, she was 5th month pregnant.
Both were pregnant.
Both were pregnant. And it was a very, very tough time. And Nutan Didi was very clear that I have to see it for the last time. And we were also wondering that she's carrying 8th month. How does she travel for 14 hours? And we had to, get a Tata Sumo to convert into form of ambulance. We had to get one nurse along with her, because she was very clear that she has to see him for the last time. So हमने पूरा arrangement किया. Then we took Didi to Palapur, and Seema Didi, of course, because she lives in Mandi, she was the first one to reach mom and dad. And me, Nutan Didi, my cousins, we all started. From Delhi, 2 of my very, very dear friends. One is Mr. Pranay and one is Atul Monga, who stood by me during those thick times. We reached on 9th afternoon, and of course, it was a very, very tough sight to look mom and dad quickly crashing down. And
as you said, you were 24.
Yeah,
and you've never seen a body before.
I'd never seen a body before that. And if I had to tell you, the body we received, and unfortunately, I always wonder why do people have to call it a body, because being given a name. So I never use the word body.
Yes.
So I always say that Vikram came in the coffin, and when we had to recognize it, came on 10th night. 10 जुलाई की रात थी वो, और रात को 2 बजे उसका विक्रम का जब कॉफिन पहुंचा, there were almost close to 2,000 people at that point of time, who were there to receive his coffin. And when we opened the coffin, as I said, that he was smiling, and when we got the coffin to home, क्योंकि it was kept in the army cantonment, तब उसको सुबह घर लेकर आई on 11th of July. And क्योंकि वो रिचुअल होता है कि आप पहले घर पे लेकर आइए, राइट? तो आई थिंक आई कुड नेवर फॉरगेट दिस साइड. It was very difficult, and I had to touch him, and the moment I touched him, he said, "No, he's not there." So, and then of course, whatever happened, that
I'm so sorry, Vishal, because it still hurts so much, doesn't it?
And then of course, we kept the coffin in the ground, and let me tell you, almost, there would be nothing. There's a lack of people. Palapur was shut down for 2 days, for the bravery he displayed, and everybody was thronging to just have a last sight of Vikram, that can we see him, can we touch him. And then, of course, 11th was the day when we finally did the final rites for Vikram. We cremated him with all the military honors. And of course, when we reached the crematorium, my dad told me to collect the fire. I didn't have courage. And I said, Dad, I can do this. But then Mom took me to a side and Mom was like, and I was wondering, how can I live from brother? So it was a very difficult moment. And now, if I really into your question, that's the reason it took me 10 years because, whatever I said and done, it's very easy to come and speak. But, the bond of being a twin sibling where, we shared everything with one another. We never had to go out and look for a company to do something else, right? Whether it was in sports, whether it was in personal life, whether it was in anything, right? Something to khelna hai, you want to make a girlfriend, go on a trip, we used to confide in each other. And then you realize that, the person who's the most, one of your best confidant is no longer with you, right?
And even today, 24 years later, it feels like yesterday, which is why today you will cry the way you are because आप अपनी आँख बंद करेंगी तो आपको तो कल जैसे लगता है.
And coming back to the same, your question. So when we did the final rites and the evening, because I think it was a Sunday or a Tuesday, if I can recollect it vaguely, and you're supposed to collect the ashes on the same day. If it is a Sunday or a Tuesday, because for me also it was the first cremation. उतना तो मुझे rituals पता ही नहीं थे life में, right? तो जब हम नीचे गए शाम को, you have to collect it before the sunset as per जो पंडित जी ने बोला था. So when we went down in the evening, and you would have seen that scene even in the movie, so that's a real scene that हम नीचे गए और जब हमने ashes collect करी तो जब जाने लगे जब जैसे हम enter करने लगे तो there was a girl who was sitting with a red dupatta, and then we realized it was Dimple, right? And then of course the moment she saw that some 8 or 10 people are coming, so she immediately got up and I realized that she's Dimple. Of course, I just gave her a hug, and of course she was there with her brother. And she went up, then of course, as the normal whatever rituals, so we did those rituals. And that's the time when, Dimple got to know, and she managed to reach Parliament somehow along with the other.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, that Vikram's interview was one of the first interviews I did in the front line. It was the first obituary story I filed. And I was crying. The news anchor who was presenting the story was crying. He had touched
so many lives.
He had touched all of India. And I'm so sorry for the pain that you carry with you because, I feel like crying, so I can't even imagine what you're feeling at this moment recounting this. You went to attend the wedding of the cinematic Vikram Batra, which was Siddharth. And you saw happen in one form of life what could not happen with your brother. Your brother and Dimple were meant to get married. वो हो नहीं सका. जिन्होंने विक्रम बत्रा और Dimple play किया, उनकी शादी हो गई. Right? That's quite a moving irony. उसके बारे में बताइए.
So I must, I'll tell you, Siddharth is a very lovely guy. He's a very, very, I would say very honest and a very soft-hearted person. And when we met him for the first time, and I was telling Siddharth, he was laughing at Vishal, how come you remember dates so well? Me and Dad met him for the first time on 24th December 2016 when we thought that Siddharth will be playing Vikram's role. I was really happy to look at the marriage of both these people because for their love story began, of course, at the time of the movie shoot, and I still remember it. And Siddharth, I apologize in case I'm wrong, but I think this story began only in Palapur when they were shooting in Palapur. Okay. Right? Is what I got to know. I could be wrong, but that's what I got to know through the Bollywood people or the people who were shooting around. And of course, I used to meet Kiara and Siddharth a lot of times. And Siddharth and Kiara even made it a point that they came to our place in Palapur, Ghar pe gaye. They took the blessings of mom and dad. And I remember when they were taking, the blessings from mom and dad, when the love is in the air, you can get a sense, right? And they were hugging mom and dad. And then I was looking at the eyes of both of them. The way I was looking at the chemistry both were developing because I was a part of the shooting for a lot of time. While they were shooting in Chandigarh, I was there with them. While they were shooting in Palapur, I was with them. While they were shooting in Kargil, I was with them. Right? And ये सब देख के मुझे लग रहा था कि कहीं ना कुछ है. And when I attended the wedding, that's all the feeling that going in my mind was, I wish I could have attended Vikram's wedding. If not that Vikram, then the real Vikram. Right? So I was very happy for both of them because they make a lovely couple. And somehow क्या होता है कि Vikram has gone and left a legacy, and as we both know that it's been 24 years. I think Vikram is a household name, right? He's a national hero. So, मुझे 2 मिनट के लिए तो बहुत बोला, like, I wish it was Vikram who was getting married. I wish it was Dimple. Her dream would have got fulfilled of marrying the boy she loved, right? But nonetheless, I'm happy that throughout real life, somebody else, got into love and, the couple got together.
Amazing.
So, primarily, the real love of Vikram and Dimple, which did not happen because of the destiny, happened in the real life. And I'm happy for both of them. I can only, bless them with lovely life to both Siddharth and Kiara. And they've been lovely people, right?
Yeah. Dimple ने कभी शादी नहीं की उसके बाद. Now, and to the best of our knowledge, कोई relationship भी नहीं हुई. That's a great love story.
Absolutely, yes. In fact,
और आपके parents ने, मैंने कहीं पढ़ा, आपके parents ने उनको बोला कि please move on. We will not, please, if you are a young woman, you must build a life again. But she said, no, I want to live with the memories of Vikram.
Yes, it's true. And in fact, it's just mom and dad. Even in fact, whenever I'd be meeting her, I've always been telling her that Dimple life is long. Dimple, कई बार वो घर जाती है मुंबई से मिलने पालापुर आज की she travels once in 3-4 years. She generally does a trip. और मैं तो of course I'm in regular touch with her.
And she's a teacher.
She's a teacher. मेरी बात होती रहती है उससे, off and on we keep on talking to each other. I also keep on telling her, and I used to tell her a lot of times when I used to meet her long time back. अब तो मिला कम होता है, but of course we regularly talk to each other. Dimple, why don't you get married? Life is long and you should settle on. But I never found that interest that she's too interested now. It could be that, as you correctly mentioned, she wanted to live on with the memories of Vikram, and I think that's what she's doing. I think she's happy. She said that she's happy doing the job as a teacher. She teaches in a school. She's joined, some clubs, the women clubs where she's happy going out and traveling around with the women groups.
Yeah,
and she's busy.
Bless her. Let's talk about mom and dad.
Yes.
Vikram is your twin, and with twins, it's like a part of you has gone. But for parents, must be so difficult.
It's been difficult, for all of us. I'll tell you. Let me tell you, the mom and dad, of course, उन्होंने हमेशा love और कुश को देखा था दोनों को. दुनिया के लिए विक्रम बत्रा, विशाल बत्रा, फिर मेरे mom dad के लिए उन्होंने love कुश है. For me, love would always be love. और Mama भी यही कहती है कि शायद Mama is a disciple of Lord Rama and my father is a disciple of Lord Krishna. और हम जब छोटे होते थे Mama को पूछते थे अपने हमारा love कुश को रखा था. I remember, and Mama still does it, that she reads Ramayana. I think she would have read it thousands of times in the last 75 years of her life. So she said कि मैं since Lord Rama की disciple थी, तो जब मैंने देखा कि मेरी twins है तो उनका नाम लव कुश रखूंगी. तो वो अभी देखो, the pain is something which will stay with us till the time we all go to the grave. Right? I personally believe in that. पर वो अब कहते हैं time is a great healer. So क्या होता है कि when you start living in a community, तो क्या होता है कि sometimes because you get a lot of love from the people around, and I think the kind of the love the country has given to the family, right? I think when you get that kind of a love in a community, so some of your pain sheds down, right? But the memories are forever in the life, right? So they've been living those memories. It's been very, very painful. आज की डेट में भी you go and you talk to them. ऐसा नहीं है कि the tears will not come out. The tears will come down.
Always.
It always happens, right? Because आपको कुछ चीजें याद आती हैं. I remember Mama used to really cook pakoras. Vikram was very fond of pakoras.
Which pakoras?
ये अपना जो
नहीं कौन से नहीं
वेजिटेबल पकौड़ा जो अपने आलू प्याज के पकौड़े होते हैं छोटे में, राइट? Vikram was very fond of राजमा चावल. Vikram was very fond of pickles. तो जब भी वो छुट्टी पे आता था, चाहे वो कैडेट था during his academy days in the IMF for 1.5 years, or he was doing his wives in Maange for 6 months, or he was doing his commandos, or he was posted in Baramulla जब उसकी पोस्टिंग थी, तो मामा हमेशा वो सब चीजें तैयार करके रखती थी. तो मामा आज भी उन चीजों को याद करती है, तो कहती है this is what I thought we would do for him. And they do crack down very, 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 very fast. I mean, जब भी बात करते हैं, and they've been I can just say that they've also been managing primarily to live with that pain, to live with that point.
Yeah,
is what I would put it across.
There was a time when they, for a very short period, joined politics. और मुझे वो चुनाव याद है, वो उन्होंने आम आदमी पार्टी की टिकट पे they got involved, election भी लड़ा. And it was a strange thing because the country loved Vikram Batra, but वो अपनी election हार गए. एक contradiction है. Oh, politics में, how did your family, matlab not you, your parents, how did they get persuaded?
So in fact, it was not meant to be, they were honestly sharing. And it just happened that they were in Delhi in one of the visits. And the AAP party got in touch with them. I think somehow
Mr. Kejriwal himself? Ki koi aur?
it was one of the team members who had come down to meet them. And of course, I think then post that meeting, they met Kejriwal ji. And I think unko laga ki, I think that was a new party which was being formed, which wanted to bring a change in India. And since Vikram was household name, and what my understanding was that they wanted, mom to contest ki, since she's Vikram's mother, and since this is a newly formed, a party which wants to bring the change, right? She can, and being a teacher, she can really influence the people around for bringing the change, towards the society. Yeah. And that's where I think I don't know what transpired in the mind of my mother, and they agreed for it, right? Whether it was a push by the party or it was their own will to contest it out of their own choice.
What did you say at that time?
I'll be very candid with you. I was not at all interested that they should get into the politics because they have been teacher all through their lives. My mom was a teacher, my dad was a teacher. They were in the education department with 34 plus years, both of them. And I don't think the politics, to get into politics was the right decision. But sometimes you take a decision to bring the change because you're not seeing the wider picture.
Did you try and change their mind? Did you?
I did speak to them.
आपने आम आदमी पार्टी की लीडर से भी बात की?
No, I did too. Why do you want them to get it?
You told the AAP or you told your parents?
I told both of them.
तो आपने किससे बात किया?
I did speak to Kejriwal.
आपने क्या बोला केजरीवाल जी?
Why do I have to get them into the discussion of this getting into the politics? But wave इतनी ज़्यादा चल रही है शायद when I told my mom, तो mom को भी शायद लगा कि ठीक है हो सकता है कि I can bring some change in Palanpur, right? Yeah. That would have been a thought. Yeah. And then I said ठीक है, अगर आपका मन है, मुझे लगा कि it is not my decision. It's her decision. She wants to contest, and of course when she lost. Right, and then she realized also that there's going to be a lot of effort which has to go in, and she was already she was almost close to around 68, 70. Right, ऐसा भी नहीं था कि she was a young lady of 50. She retired at 60, and after retirement of 10 years, right, it was almost 2014-15, almost 9 years back. She was 68. So then I also told them, you need to have age by your side, right? You'll have to do a lot of effort. But to be honest, I think the good thing which happened with this was that she joined. There's a club called the Inner Wheel Club for the ladies. Right, it was also to do and be connected with Pramali doing some social responsibility towards the society. So she's been a member of the Inner Wheel Club for last almost close to, I think.
When you spoke to Kejriwal ji and you said, "Bhai, इनको क्यों आप बोल रहे हो?"
And that time, of course, I found him to be a little more convincing the way because I didn't meet him. Right, it was more.
It was phone पे बात.
It was a telephone call, right, and he was sounding very optimistic. So I said, let it be. It's a parent's decision.
How do your parents feel about that adventure? जो हुआ? कि आप तो राजनीति में बिल्कुल नहीं.
No, they left it in almost 2016. It's been almost 9 years they've been out of this thing. And अभी तो as I mentioned that mom is doing more of a social work to this club. Yeah. They've been associated to a lot of other institutions and NGOs where they keep on working. Right.
Vikram wrote one letter. जो आज भी मैंने अपनी किताब में भी उसके बारे में लिखा. I think in the movie also there's a reference, but we must tell our audience. When he said, either I will come home, either I will
hoist a tricolor, or I'll come back wrapped in it, but I'll come back pushing. Yeah. So what had happened? This happened, Barkha. When Vikram was in a very short leave for 3 days in Palanpur, he met one of his friends. और उन दिनों में I think it was the month of May, April and May, we had got to know the intrusion in Indian government.
ये बिल्कुल शुरू में है, before
of course the Kargil actually began. तो उसको ऐसे ही friend, and he's a very very dear friend who's been a childhood friend all through our lives, and I'm sure so Shershaah movie में जो सनी का रोल किया, he's the same friend of ours. तो विक्रम को जब discussion चल रहा था तो विक्रम को उसने ऐसे बोल दिया कि यार you take care of yourself because I think the things are getting hot there. And I think they were, chit-chatting over a cup of tea. So Vikram ne, in a flow, he said, yaar, dar kyun raha hai? Yaar, tiranga lara kar raunga, ya tirange mein lipit kar raunga. Lekin opposite raunga. And I think he ended up doing both.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Ki unhone to dono kiya. What is the way you would see? He's already a household name, but the thing is to keep these stories of courage alive for the next generations. People who are not old enough to witness what happened in that war. movies are one way. What is the way I don't know how many people know, but you're in a very different line of work. You're in the banking space, and you actually exclusively now look after the entire defense community and banking, and that's amazing. But how do you want to honor the legacy of Vikram and others like Vikram going forward? कभी सोचते हो आप कि भाई क्या करें? मतलब कि in terms of keeping the memories alive
of the young people.
Of the young people. Yes.
So I look at it two ways. One, in all our school curriculums, right? If you remember, even when you were a student, right?
Yeah.
We were almost the same way.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We used to read a lot of history. We used to read a lot about the people who are freedom for India. The likes of Bhagat Singh Ji, Chandrasekhar Azad, Mahatma Gandhi, and everybody. You know what really makes me wonder that why the school curriculum of the today's education system doesn't include the stories and valor of the likes of Captain Vikram Batra, Captain Manoj Pandey, Vijay Thapar, Anuj Nayyar, Sanjay Kumar Ji, Yuvendra Yadav. I can go on and on. I think that's a must to the education system, so that the youth of India today gets to know that what these young bravos did for a country like India in getting back the territory and our motherland, right? When they fought battles, and the mighty peaks where even eagles don't dare, you can't even breathe. I wonder why it has not happened until now. We still talk about Mughals. It's fine. See, that's a history you must teach. But to bring that patriotism in the community, in the students, it's a must do, number one, right? Number two, I think the stories of each of these people, I think, why it should be remembered only during specific occasions of the Vijay Diwas or an Independence Day or a Republic Day or any other occasion which is of a national fervor. I think they should be remembered all the lives. And I've seen, and why do I say that? Whatever said enough, I think we all are doing a job. So you're doing your job, I'm doing my job. It doesn't make a difference whether you're part of a banking fraternity or a media or a politics or armed forces. I think we all have a responsibility towards country, I would say rather the cusp of what we are in today, when India stands tall in front of the global nations looking at G20 presidency today. I think each one of the youth has to come forward to take this country forward.
Yeah.
And that's what each of these young people should learn from the inspirations.
I really feel that the school textbooks is a very important point. But I want to ask you one thing before we start closing. You wanted to join the forge, you couldn't.
Yeah.
You live with a piece of Vikram in your heart. There is this thing called a Fauji value. Fauji's ka apna ek value system hota hai, jo civilians, unless you're very deeply connected to them, like you, like I feel I am, you can't understand that value system. One of the things, for example, is that a Fauji, unka jo ek secularism hota hai na, wo itna organic hota hai. Unki units mein आरती भी होती है, नमाज भी होता है. आप जैकलाई देख लीजिए तो the मंदिर मस्जिद गुरुद्वारा traditions होती हैं. So what have you learned standing outside of the forge yet being in it in a way? आपने एक फौजी वैल्यू जो आपने सीखा हो इन पिछले 24 सालों में?
A lot of things. I think, in fact, we learn a lot from the armed forces. One, as you correctly mentioned, is the discipline.
Yeah.
I think it's incredible. And, even when you look at the programming of these people, it'll be 4:45 hours. And I was speaking to one of the journalists that day. I said, "Sir, why do you write 4:45 hours?" He said, "Vishal, we do a backward calculation. We don't do a forward calculation." If 4:45 पे तो उससे पहले 4:30 पे मुझे क्या करना है, मुझे 4 o'clock क्या करना है, so we always do. So that's one discipline, which I've learned. Right? Yes. Second, I think the camaraderie, as you correctly mentioned, you will see a Sikh guy manning a Maratha light infantry. You will see a Muslim guy, leading a Rajput battalion. Yeah. Right. You will see a Punjabi guy leading a Madras battalion. I think the camaraderie they built, right, among all the fraternity, irrespective of the caste and religion, right, and you bang on, and I fundamentally believe that the way एक area होगा, साथ में ही आपका मंदिर है, गुरुद्वारा है, मस्जिद है, church है. Off late, I'll be very honest, I inaugurated one of the centers. I was representing my bank in a center in Assam Rifles. And the commandant of the center took me to a place, and I was amazed to look at the 4 blocks, and they're facing each other. Yeah. Right, the temple, the Gurdwara, the masjid, and the church. Believe me, I had the goosebumps. Yeah. The camaraderie they built, because end of the day, they say you represent a country, you don't represent a religion here. Absolutely. Right, that's the second thing which I've learned. And third is knowing their soldiers end to end, it is just not about winning the war. कहते हैं ना कि soldier को पूछो कि आपका सबसे बड़ा जो वो ना आपका सबसे बड़ा आपका pride क्या आता है, वो कहता है नहीं पलटन सबसे बड़ी मेरी pride है, right? So a commanding officer knowing his people till the last mile, चाहे वो rifleman है, चाहे वो सिपाही है, चाहे वो नायक है, knowing their personal and professional life. I think these are some of the, and fundamentally, if I can use officer-like qualities, right?
Yeah.
Your reason at the end of the day, you're telling a man to get into the jaws of death. You have to motivate him so much that even in case Khuda na khasta kal kuch hota hai, you have to tell this guy to get into the war.
Yeah.
I think so. The camaraderie they want to build is, and I think we as a community, as a country, can learn so much about being a united strength. At the end of the day, as I mentioned, that we all do our professions, but we all represent a country. So these are some of the things which I've learned in the last.
Amazing, and I agree with every word. Let's close with the memory of Vikram. Anything like जब आप अपनी आँख बंद करते हैं, or happy memory. Let's close with a happy memory that doesn't make us cry. What do you tell us something? मतलब was he a very naughty boy? Were you both very shaitan?
Tell us. Vikram was a very जिंदा दिल guy.
Yeah.
He was a यारों का यार, उसका एक बड़ा अच्छा मोटो था. He used to say live life king size. हमेशा बोलता था वो. And whenever I look at with whatever loss I have, it's a deep loss. So one of the letters what Vikram had written to me, which keeps me going in life is, and this was the first letter, right, which was written to me on 16th of June 1999. He had written, and I was struggling in my career during those days. I'll be really honest. I was working for Tata Finance, but I was struggling. It was my first career after doing my masters in finance. Life is a total risk. There are a hell lot of bullets and shells flying all around. I've already written you, life is a total risk. Please take care of mom and dad. And the last beautiful line, he says, life is beautiful, yaar. Don't take tensions. God is looking at everyone. Just do your bit. And you would realize one day that you're the most happiest person because you have all the talent and potential to do whatever you want to achieve in life. I think this is one of the best memories in my life, that whenever I'm down, and I always wonder that sitting at a 17,000 feet, if he could write this, I think we are not even in the line of the war at all. If you take out, because there's no retake, at least in the war. For me, if I forget something, I can go back and still try doing it. So whenever I look at that particular letter, and of course it's in my soft copy, I've already laminated the last 4 letters written to me by him. They're the, I think, most treasured possession I have with him. But of course, मुझे उसके सारे letters रटे हुए हैं. I don't have to go back and open it. So whenever I'm down a bit, I would always open it up and I say, yeah, he's writing with such a smile. Vishal Batra, you can shed your tears, but smile. Shed your tears, even if you shed your tears, shed it with a smile, not with a grief or something.
Well, God bless his legacy, and God bless you and your family. Ye dil maange more.
Thanks so much. This letter was written on 23rd of June 1999. Dearest Kush, hi. Trust this letter finds you in the best of your health and high spirits. And I hope you have received my previous letter which I had written at Neetu Didi's address. I'm writing you this letter from point 5140 at Toraling, which you might be hearing about every day in the news. And yay, you will be proud to know that we've captured it. Lieutenant General, you met him at Shimla, and I had gone to attack it, and we captured it on 20th, killing 6 Pakistani and captured hell lots of arms and ammunition. Whole battalion is very happy on our performance, and you'll be happy to know that we both have been recommended for Mahavir Chakra. And I have picked up the rank of captain also. Yesterday, I had called up mom and dad from the place as we got a satellite phone for some time, so I got a chance to speak. I have also received letter from Nippy's parents, Omkar. The rest, everything is fine here. Don't know about the leave plan. Do give a call to Dimple and tell about me that I'm fine, and tell about my achievement also. We've got congratulatory calls from the Army Chief, Adjutant General, DGMO, and other Army commanders from all over. Nothing more to write, so I penned down. Do replies soon. I'm sitting at a height of 17,200 feet. Sorry for my handwriting, it's very cold here. All my love to you. Love always, yours love.